Mr. Mars, are you too busy to do your car review?
No, sir, not too busy at all. Just doing a quick audio check
All
here.
right. Well, why don't we take a look at the 2024 or 3? 23 Jeep Gladiator.
If it's the Jeep Gladiator Mojave 4x4, and I was really surprised to find that the Jeep Gladiator is now available in 10 different trim levels. It's still part of the first gen that was introduced in 2019, and the Mojave is about mid trim level. It's maybe 3/4 up. It is a mid-size pickup. It is the only mid-size pickup that is a convertible because you can take the doors and the top completely off of it and have yourself a nice little convertible.
We know you like taking the top off.
I'm telling you, 4-door crew cab. It's got a 5-foot bed on it. This year they did introduce a new trim level, the Freedom Edition. It's based on the sport trim level, but we're going to stick with the Mojave. It's kind of done after a high-speed desert runner because even the suspension's kind of got the front's got an inch higher lift to give you a little more, I guess, jump over the dunes.
Over those dunes.
Yeah. So when you look at it, you're going to see the familiar 7-slot grille. It's got LED lighting, which is the headlights, fog lights, tail lights. You got the removable doors at the top, like I mentioned. It's got performance shocks, skid plates under the transmission, the fuel tank, all the things you would expect for a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Interesting, it runs on some 17-inch wheels with some 33-inch tires. It is off-road. That's all part of being off-road. It's a little different than the street. Complete with Dana axles in the front and rear. That's 14 gears, which has an impact on your fuel economy.
You think?
Yes. Now, on the inside, we had cloth seats, which is really good because this is an off-road vehicle. Absolutely off-road. Got sport bolsters on it, though. Front seats are heated, and it's got Apple, Android, all the technology. It's got a 7.4-inch driver display that's got, for your speedometer, your tach, and a lot of other things that you can figure out and display on there. 8.4-inch touch monitor in the middle. That's where you're going to find your Uconnect with your radio, your air conditioning system, and it does note that it does have AC vents in the rear for the rear passengers. Got storage behind the rear seat. We have the Alpine Premium audio system so that when you're going down the road at highway speeds with the top down and no doors, you got plenty of volume there to overcome the wind noise.
Kind of like in a helicopter with the doors off.
Yeah,
the air conditioner doesn't work.
Because the air conditioner doesn't work.
So up under the hood, we had the 3.6-liter V6. This is the same engine you're going to find in a lot of the vehicles from Jeep. 285 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. And that is the only engine that's available in the Mojave trim level. No other choices. 8-speed automatic. EPA says you should be looking for about 17 miles per gallon in the city. On the highway, 22, combined 19. I drove 207.8 miles and got 15.1.
Oh, my.
A lot of mine was in town, so again, that 14.
That's what I got, too.
It's about the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a lot of bottom end to it, but it cost. But
you know what? And let me just say this about that. And I said that in my review. This is an off-road, purpose-built vehicle. There are going to be compromises made that aren't going to really meet up with an everyday mid-size pickup truck.
Because it is designed for off-road.
Off-road.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's a very specific off-road. I was talking to a couple of guys that down here we don't have deserts per se. The closest thing we got is the beach, and with the sand. But for a rock crawler, it will do that. But it's got some specific things like the front being an inch, the lift being an inch taller and stuff for the sand and for that environment.
I like to refer to it as very comparable to the way that really a true pickup guy would do, actually tell the factory this is what he wants on his pickup truck. The gearing, the transmission, the wheels, the tire, all of the stuff that you can change on your vehicle. It's the same thing that holds true with Jeep, except it's even more so.
And it may have been something Jeep did some research on to find out what kind of modifications people were doing to their personal Gladiators, and this is it.
Yeah.
Well, they do that with all their Wranglers and their other Jeep off-road vehicles. But with the Gladiator, one of the things that they did, it looks very much like a Wrangler. It shares a lot of things with the Wrangler, such that whenever that vehicle launched in 2019, there was 200 aftermarket or 200 accessories you could get from Jeep that were already available for the Wrangler that would transfer and fit on this thing.
Right.
So it was very much built in line with the other products that they have.
So did you find lots of the Easter eggs?
I found quite a few of them. Quite a few of them, and my granddaughters even helped me find some of them. They said, "What are you looking for?" And I explained it to them. They thought it was cool.
Well,
They
it
went
is
and looked
cool.
over it, yeah. Now, pricing. Base model Gladiator will start at $38,990.
That's not cheap.
It's not cheap when you compare it to a Chevy Colorado that starts at $29,200. But the ZR2, the off-road version of that vehicle, starts at $46,800. Which, when you look at the base trim price of the Gladiator Mojave at $50,595, and the as-tested price, the MSRP, was a flat $67,000.
Wow.
The other one that I found that I thought would be comparable would be the Toyota Tacoma, very popular off-road vehicle. The TRD, the base model in it's $28,250, but the TRD starts at $40,776. So when you get into that mid-size, serious off-road type vehicle, they're all priced comparable. The Gladiator may be a little bit higher, but it's got a reputation. And one thing I did fail to mention, Jeep off-road comes with trail-rated badging on it. Well, the Mojave does not have trail-rated badging. It has a desert rating.
Hence the
Desert
name Mojave.
badge instead of trail-rated because of that Mojave
Desert
concept,
runner
the
look.
desert runner thing on it. And after having a week and driving it around town, I can see where, that size truck would be
Yeah, but
very
even the Tacoma in
advantageous.
Colorado, my personal opinion, are not comparable to the off-road ability of the Jeep.
I agree. But in having something to compare it to,
I think that it is probably its best competitor, in my mind, would be the Toyota Tacoma TRD.
you're right.
I don't ask me specifically why, but I have seen Toyota represented more of a head-to-head kind of thing, the off-roadness of it.
Yes, yeah. They put a lot of the cameras, a lot of the features that you can get in the Jeep off-road vehicles, you can now get in the Tacoma. That's probably, I agree, that's the one that's done the most to be competitive in that category.
Yeah.
The ZR2
But they're
looks
chasing
good, but
Jeep. Jeep's leading the pack.
Well,
I-
yes and
Yeah.
no. I think that the Jeep Gladiator really stands alone. You can compare them, but not really, because the Jeep is focused on off-road. And I'll tell you what, if you have a remote cabin in the mountains of Colorado somewhere, that would be the ideal thing. Get up the mountain with the four-wheel drive. You put a plow on the front of it and have all your supplies in the back. Bingo. Because remember, it is a four-door.
And I personally think the back seat, the rear seat for the passengers, there's a little more room. To me, part of it's because of the way the seats are structured. They're a little more upright, whereas some of the other midsize, you're more laid out. Your feet extend out more in front of you, even in the rear seat.
Plus, you also got that great storage underneath the back seat.
Yeah.
And you can fold the back seats up. It's a Swiss Army knife.
That's a good way to put it.
I want to remind you that the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video.